let's talk about the word reflection. For a lot of us, just hearing it makes you kind of cringe, right? It brings up this sinking feeling, like it's a chore or even a punishment. But what if I told you that's a total misunderstanding? What if reflection isn't a brake pedal holding you back, but the actual engine for your growth? Today, we're going to completely flip this idea on its head and show you how to turn it into one of your most powerful tools.
So here's our game plan for today. First up, we're going to dig into why we have this gut reaction to push back against reflection. And you might be surprised how much your childhood has to do with it. Then we'll get into the ego and how it can be a huge blind spot. After that, I'm going to share a game-changing analogy about driving a car that will change how you see everything. From there, we'll get practical on how to actually do this stuff. And finally, we'll uncover the real goal here, unlocking genuine, powerful growth.
All right, let's dive right into the heart of it. Why do we have such a negative, almost allergic reaction when someone tells us to reflect on our actions? Why does it feel less like helpful advice and more like a personal jab?
Well, a lot of the time, it starts with a phrase just like this one from Japan, Hansei shinasai. It means reflect on what you've done. But you don't need to speak Japanese to get this feeling. Just think back to your own childhood. You probably had a version of this, right? Something a parent or a teacher would say right after you messed up. For most of us, that's our very first, most powerful memory of reflection. It's baked into our brains and connected to that feeling of being in trouble.
And it's fascinating to see how our response just completely flips over time. As a kid, you hear that command and you pretty much just take it. You listen, you accept it. But as an adult, oh boy. If your boss or maybe even your partner says you need to reflect on your actions, the reaction is totally different. It's instant anger, right? Defensiveness. Our brain just screams, "Who do you think you are? I'm a complete person."
So what gives? What happened between childhood and adulthood that makes us build this massive wall against looking inward? What's this armor we put on? Well, the answer lies in the very thing we think is protecting us.
And that leads us right into our second section, where we're going to face that big obstacle head-on, the adult ego. This is the quiet little thought running in the back of our minds that fuels all that resistance. I mean, think about it. We spend years and years trying to become independent. And so the idea of reflection can feel like a direct hit on that status we've worked so hard for. It feels like someone's saying we're not finished, that we're not good enough just as we are. And honestly, who wants to feel that?
And our ego is a master lawyer. It's brilliant at finding evidence to support this case. We tell ourselves, hey, look, I have a job. I pay my bills. I'm a grown-up. We hold these up like shields. We figure that because we've hit these external milestones of adulthood, our internal world must be all sorted out too. No further inspection needed.
But here's the paradox, and it's a big one. The stronger that exterior is, the more someone gets angry at the idea of reflecting, the more it's a sign that they're protecting something really fragile on the inside. It's a defense mechanism, plain and simple. It's armor built around this deep, deep fear of admitting, you know what, I might have been wrong, or I still have room to grow.
Okay, so we've established that our old view of reflection is pretty broken. So what do we replace it with? You're going to want to listen to this because this next section, it alters a reframe that could seriously change everything for you.
Right now, chances are you see reflection as a brake pedal. You know, something that screeches all your momentum to a halt, forces you to sit and just stew on all your mistakes. It feels like a restriction. But what if that's not what it is at all? Let's try on a brand new analogy. I want you to stop thinking of reflection as a punishment and start thinking of it as learning an incredibly useful new skill, like learning how to drive a car. Just think about it for a second. When you first get behind the wheel of a car, it is terrifying. Your hands have a death grip on the wheel, you're sweating, every little move feels like a life or death decision, but then you start learning the rules of the road. You practice, and eventually driving becomes automatic. You don't even think about it anymore. It becomes this amazing tool that gives you incredible freedom. Well, reflection is exactly the same. It feels awkward and clunky and hard at first, but with practice, it becomes an effortless skill that helps you navigate life and get you where you actually want to go. And this right here, this illustrates the absolute core of the idea. Just imagine a world with no traffic laws, no stop signs, no lanes, nothing. Would that be freedom? No way! It would be absolute chaos, total gridlock, constant accidents, you'd be trapped. The rules don't actually restrict you. They create the conditions for real freedom. In the exact same way, the rules of reflection don't hold you back. They keep you from crashing and burning and allow you to actually move forward in your life. Okay, so we've got the why nailed down, but what about the how? How do we actually start learning to drive our own minds? Let's get practical.
So the very first step, the prerequisite, is something that honestly a lot of us have lost the ability to do. And that is simply to be in silence. Think about it. We walk into a room and what's the first thing we do? Turn on the TV, put on some music, a podcast. When we do that, we're not actually thinking. Our brains are just reacting to all that stuff coming in. To truly reflect, you have to create a space free from that noise, to give your mind some room to breathe.
Once you have that silence, the process is really simple, but it is profound. First, just observe. Don't judge, don't try to fix anything, just watch what bubbles up. Here's a great way to think about it. Imagine your mind is a glass of muddy water that's been shaken up all day long. Your job isn't to force the mud out, it's just to hold the glass still and let all that chaos naturally settle to the bottom. And as the water starts to clear, you can finally see what's left. The sediment. Those are the core thoughts and feelings you need to look at. That's what you examine.
So what's the real point of all this? What's the end game? It's not just about analyzing yourself for the sake of it. It's about unlocking this incredible power that you already have, a power that can change not just your own life, but the world around you too.
See, we have to stop thinking about our minds as some passive thing that just takes in information. It's not. Your mind is an active, humming power generator, and it is always on, constantly creating energy.
And the thoughts you produce, that's the electricity flowing from your personal power generator. And this energy is real. It's not just some fantasy happening inside your head. It flows out from you and actively shapes your reality, your relationships, your career, everything. Your thoughts are literally building the world you live in, brick by brick.
Now, just like real electricity, this mental energy is neutral. It can be used destructively, right? It can short-circuit your relationships, start emotional fires, and cause real harm to you and other people. Or it can be directed constructively. It can be used to power beautiful creations, to innovate, to connect, and to bring light and warmth into the world. Reflection is simply the practice of becoming the conscious engineer of your own power plant.
So you see, the goal of reflection was never about punishment. It's not about beating yourself up for past mistakes. It's about alignment. It's the regular maintenance you do on your internal power generator to make sure that the massive energy you are constantly putting out into the world is aimed straight and true towards creating genuine happiness for yourself and for everyone you come into contact with. And that leaves us with one final question for you to take with you. The electricity is always flowing. That generator is always on. So the next time you have a moment of silence, I want you to look at the energy you're producing every single day and just ask yourself, what world are my thoughts building?